Justice Kagan?
You've referred a couple of times to the necessity defense, so could you tell me how that would work?
Yes. So there, under Oregon law, if a person says that it's effectively the lesser of two evils, if they say I had no alternative, no legal alternative other than what I did here that broke the law, then I had no choice, and I therefore had to break the law, and it was in some sense involuntary, to use a term that many have been discussing. So there, it would be very narrow. It is a very narrow defense, so it would be in that moment.
So suppose that there is a person who is homeless, and there are no shelter beds available, and the person has no place to go, and the person, of course, has to sleep. And the person, it's cold outside, the person has a blanket. So that's the minimum conduct that the law prohibits. So the person sleeps outside with a blanket, and the police officer comes, but the person says, well, I had no place else to go. Would the city continue to push for some kind of penalty?
Well, if a person received a citation, so if they did, then they would have a defense of necessity. It's asserted as a defense. So what the other side is
it's asserted as a defense.
Yes.
I mean, so you're not willing to say, no, we're going to tell all our police officers that they shouldn't give a citation in that circumstance. You know, we're going to give a citation, and then we'll see how the courts deal with it, is all you're going to tell me.
Officers always have discretion, and we know that they exercise it, and it's hard to know.
The question is not an individual officer's discretion. Individual officers are in a tough situation here.
They are.
The question is, what is the city going to tell individual officers? So what is the city going to tell individual officers about a case of the kind that I said? Are you going to tell individual officers, issue the citation, and we'll see if the person knows enough to make a necessity defense, and we'll see what the court does about that? Or are you going to say, you know, there are some things that just ought not to be the subject of civil or criminal infractions?
So the city, in its policy, at a joint appendix, page 158, for example, talks about what officers are supposed to do. They're supposed to put people in touch with services first, to contact if there is available help for them. These laws are absolutely a tool for getting people the services that they need. Many people need that intervention.
Well, you're not giving me a real answer
Yes.
to the question of, is the city telling officers that they should give citations in that circumstance?
No, it is if somebody, again, it is a matter of discretion.
Is there anything you can point? It's a matter of discretion.
Yes.
There's nothing you can point to that the city says, we have a necessity defense. What we're telling officers to do is to, act consistently with that defense, so that if it is truly a matter of need, that you are sleeping on the street alone with a blanket, no, the officer should not cite the person.
There's nothing in the record here that shows officers were told about a necessity defense and that what it would or would not preclude. That would be an individualized question after the fact if someone received a citation. And if they thought that that wasn't enough, the proper framework would be this court's framework in Kaler, where we would look at the asserted defense, their insanity of some form, and here it would be necessity, and we would ask whether it is so deeply rooted in our history and something that has to be imposed in this way on the states.
Thank you.